Yeah. So today we are discussing chapter 28. In chapter 28, the chapter describes how leaving the worn out city with his wife, Puranjana attained Bhakti by the influence of devotees. Puranjana will leave the body and get a new birth. In that new birth, he will get the association of devotees. Then he will attain perfection. So that is the storyline of this chapter. So from verse number 1 to 24 talks about how one gives up one's body, the process of giving up one's material body, that is mentioned. So how the giving up starts? That is started with the verse number 1. O King Prachina Barishad, the soldiers of fear, Baya is Yavaneshwara. The soldiers are Yavanas. They are representing the diseases, mental and physical diseases. The soldiers of fear, the fulfillers of karma, along with Prajwara. Prajwara was the elder brother of Baya. He said that when my soldiers attack, you also enter them. I will also come. Then eventually my elder brother will come and destroy everything that is there. So the soldiers of fear are the fulfillers of karma, dishta karina. The diseases what we get is all based on our karmas only. So in that way. Along with Prabjara and the old age began to travel the earth. So now a big army is traveling on the surface of the earth, Bharata Varsha. One side Prajvara is there, other side Yavan Raja Baya is there, other side Baya is there, and in front of them lot of soldiers are there. They were all traveling all over surface of the Bharata Varsha. Eventually one day they'll come to the city of 9 gates. That will be the topic of discussion. Prabhupada writes, the period of life just prior to death is certainly very dangerous because usually at this time people are attacked by the weakness of old age as well as many kinds of diseases. The diseases that attack the body are compared to the soldiers, as we discussed. The soldiers are not ordinary, for they are guided by the king of the Yavanas, who acts as their commander in chief. The word Dishtakarina indicates that he is their commander. Dishtakarina indicates he is their commander. Karma is one's commander, one's commander of one's disease. When a man is young, he does not care for old age, but enjoys life to the best of his satisfaction, not knowing that at the end of life, his sexual indulgence will bring on various diseases, which so much disturb the body that one will pray for imminent death. The more one enjoys during youth, the more one suffers in old age. So Prabhupada gives that. The soldiers are various diseases. Dishtakarana means those who bestow the bad reactions of one's sinful activities in that way. So while they were traveling on the surface of the earth, attacking different cities, different towns, different villages, one day they came to the city of 9 gates. That is mentioned in the second verse. Ta ekadatu rabasa puranjanapurim rupa rurudur bhauma bhogabhyam jarat pannagapalitam.
Once the dangerous soldiers attacked the city of Puranjana with great force. Although the city was full of paraphernalia for sense gratification, it was being protected by the old serpent.
Ekada, one day. Bhagavatam, whenever new past time comes, the Ekada word comes. One day. They forcefully besieged the city of Puranjana, which is full of material enjoyment, which was protected by the old snake. It is mentioned as Jarat Pannaga Palitam. The snake is protecting the entire city and it is fighting with the Gandharvas for the last 100 years. By fighting with them time and again, it slowly lost energy, strength, and became old. That is indicated by the word Jara. Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadi. Jara is old age. The snake became old. It cannot fight vigorously now anymore. So previously was able to fight with Gandharvas. He did not allow the Gandharvas to enter and plunder. But now he cannot stop the Yavanas. They will enter, defeating him because he already become old. So in that way, the city was protected by a worn out life air. So in that way. कालकन्यापि बुभुजे पुरञ्जनपुरं बलात् यया विभूता पुरुषा सद्यो निस्सारताम् इव जय इयात्.
Gradually, Kalkanya, with the help of dangerous soldiers, attacked all the inhabitants of Puranjana's city and thus rendered them useless for all purposes.
Prabhupada writes in the Purport all about what is going to happen in the future verses. Anyway, we'll discuss all those points. That's why I'm not reading the Purport. Here it says that Kalakanya, the daughter of time, who is old age, who overpowers a person and makes him immediately useless. As soon as Kalakanya enters into a person, the person becomes useless because old age diminishes all one's energy. Took possession of that city by force. Now, Kalakanya, being assisted by those so many Yavana soldiers, forcefully attacked upon the city. Previously, the Chandavega trying to attack on the city he did not become successful. But now Kalakanna very easily became successful because the snake could not fight vigorously. It lost the battle. So suddenly the diseases entered, the old age entered to the body. Here city means the body. Because the city is made up of all the 9 doors and all the gardens representing by body. So in that way. Prabhupada writes, at the fag end of life, when the invalidity of old age attacks a man, his body becomes useless for all purposes. That is the symptom of old age. Then continues. तयोपभुज्यमानां वै यवना सर्वतो दिशं द्वार्भी प्रविश्य सुभृशं प्रार्थ्यन् सकलां पुरीम्.
When Kalkanya
entered the city through different ways.
Sorry, actually,
They then began to give severe trouble to all the citizens.
So it says that when she took possession of that city, the Yavanas then entered the city. Come. Sir. Your father came and just left.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. Did you put it back in the security?
When she took possession of that city, the Yavanas then entered the city through the gates of all sides and caused great affliction to the whole city. As soon as Jara forcefully entered the city, all the soldiers entered through the 9 gates. I don't know how far it is true. At least Mataji is there. She's a doctor. She can help us understand. The meaning is the diseases enter through the eyes and other openings. The soul, just like the soldiers enter through the 9 gates of the city and to enter the intercity, different diseases enter through the 9 gates of the human body and then cause destruction of the entire city. We can see some contagious diseases through smell we get, and what are the disease with eyes you get, people get, na? Huh? Conjunctivitis, that also comes through just by looking at the people we get it. And cough and cold easily, allergies, all different variety of allergies easily will come. So I mean, we also have practical experience, and it is also that most of the diseases will come by food. Food comes from outside only. When we eat over food or less food or improper food, this causes so many diseases. So in that way. Yes, Mata, you are saying something?
No, I was going to say that only, that all the bacterial or viral infections, they enter through some of the openings.
Yes.
So that is the thing. And the lower openings, lower two openings, what we say, they already have lot many bacteria. So while whatever touch or things, if the cleanliness is not maintained, that already existing bacteria itself can, develop into diseases of it, like cholera and things. They means they are spreaded like this, in that way. That's what I was.
Many of the diseases according to Ayurveda are due to indigestion.
Yeah, that the mouth is the biggest opening. Yeah.
Yeah. So because of that, all diseases will come. So these verses are told in the story form, but story is easy to remember. So that in that way we can remember for long. That is the whole idea by Nardamuni. Prabhupada goes into ecstasy. Prabhupada is Ayurveda chemist. So he talks about many other things. So the body has 9 gates. When one is harassed by the invalidity of old age, various diseases manifest at the gates of the body. For example, the eyes become so dim that one requires spectacles, and the ears become too weak to hear directly, and therefore one requires hearing aids. The nostrils are blocked by mucus, and one has to always sniff a medical bottle containing ammonia. In those days, at least ammonia is used. Similarly, the mouth, too weak to chew, requires false teeth. Teeth are gone. The rectum also gives one trouble, and the evacuation process becomes difficult. Sometimes one has to take enemas and sometimes use a surgical nozzle to accelerate the passing of urine. In this way, the city of Puranjana was attacked at various gates by the soldiers. Thus, in old age, all the gates of the body are blocked by so many diseases, and one has to take help from so many medicines and surgical appliances. This is the reality of human existence. Then Nardamuni continues.
The five-wooded snake is getting older even before actually getting
He
older.
was fighting. First he becomes old, then all other things.
In our circumstances, it is becoming older much before it is.
Yeah, in our case, we have already attacked by Jara. Just by entering into Bombay, we are attacked by Jara. It is a fast accelerating process. Tasyam prabidyamanayam abhimani puranjana avaporu vidam stapan kutumbi mamatakula.
When the city was thus endangered by the soldiers and Kalakanya, King Puranjana, being overly absorbed in affection for his family, was placed in difficulty by the attack of Yavana Raja and Kalakanya.
Now subsequently what happens step by step. When the city was suffering, Puranjana, identifying with the city, overcome with possessiveness for family, underwent a great variety of pain. So the soldiers enter the city, just like, here the name is also one sense apt. Who are the soldiers? Yavanas. Even in the past also history says when Yavanas entered, they kind of dismantled everything that is beautiful all over. So same way, here the Yavanas are also destroying all the pleasure gardens. As we discussed in the city of Nine Gates, there are so many gardens, waterfalls and lakes, trees, flowers, all so many things are there representing the 5 sense objects. They are destroying the entire city first. Before entering into the Antapura, that is the heart is the Antapura, so they are destroying everything that is beautiful which is meant for the pleasure of Puranjana and Puranjani. They have destroyed everything. As the city is getting destroyed, Puranjana, who is identifying with the city, feeling so bad that everything is getting destroyed. Just like Hanumanji when he went to Lanka, he destroyed our entire Ashoka Vatika and nearby places. Ravana became very angry because Ashoka Vatika is one of the most pleasure garden. His own pleasure garden is getting destroyed. He became very angry and he sends one after the other so many soldiers. So like that. Here, since he identified with all those gardens and he underwent very great pain. Avapa Uru Vidam Stapan. Uru Tapa. Great pain he went through. So anybody, whatever one possesses, when that is destroyed, they obviously feel very bad about it. So Prabhupada again continues the same thing. When the diseases attack one gets afraid, fearful, and one gets painful. One's life becomes completely painful. When a field is overgrown with thorns and weeds, it becomes very difficult for the owner to work it. That is the position of the spirit soul. When the body itself becomes a burden due to disease, extra burdens are placed on the body in the form of anxiety and general deterioration of the bodily functions. Kanyopagoodo nashta stri krupano vishayatmaka nashta prajno rutaishwaryo gandharva yavanirbalat vishirnam swapurim viksha pratikulan anadrutan putran pautranugamartyan jayam cha gata saurudam. Please read that loudly.
Having been too much addicted to sex, he began very poor in intelligence and lost all his opulence. Being bereft of all possessions, he was conquered forcibly by the Gandharvas and the Yavanas. King Puranjana then saw that everything in his town was scattered and that his sons, grandsons, servants, and ministers were all gradually opposing him. He also noted that his wife was becoming cold and indifferent.
So subsequently, what happens? On one side, he is feeling his property is getting destroyed. On the other side, his wife, sons, and all others become indifferent to that person. This is what one sees in the old age. Huh?
Body is like giving up.
You see, the story, if you as you follow in next, the story exactly tells what exactly happening today. Those story is allegorical story, but it exactly tells what's happening. If you take the meaning wife means intelligence, that does not make sense. But he says it is wife. So wife, children sometimes become indifferent at times. Embraced by old age, bereft of beauty, miserable, thinking of enjoyment, his wisdom and wealth destroyed. He saw his city being violently smashed by the Gandharvas and Yavanas and saw that his sons, grandsons, followers, ministers, and wife had become indifferent, disrespectful, and were acting adversely. Everyone who are working for his welfare for the last 100 years, whose entire life's goal is to look after the pleasure of the king. Now, when the king became old and full of diseases, everyone became indifferent. This is what happened. If you remember third canto also, there was a discussion about this. Samsara of a living in the mode of ignorance. So he did all the sinful activities for maintaining the family members, but the same people become indifferent to that person at the age, at the old age. So in that way. So 1 minute break. We'll continue. We'll go to other room. That is our classroom. अरे क्या करें आज तो पूरा So any questions till now? Hare Krishna.
No, Prabhuji.
No questions, sir. So here, as we just mentioned that what happens in our daily life is what is being mentioned in the shlokas as it is. Vishiranam should be Vishiryamanam, being destroyed. Pratikulan means they acted adversely against their natures. They were subject to lamentation and other distresses. So the intelligence, the mind, the jnanendriyas, they became miserable because they are always looking for some sense objects. Now there are no sense objects because the Yavanas have destroyed the entire city. There is nothing to enjoy. So the examples are given below. What do you mean by Pratikulan? The sons are discernment and such qualities. The grandsons are patience and other qualities. Sons, daughters, grandsons, everyone like different qualities and activities. The followers are the senses and the ministers are the control and duties of the mind and senses. The followers, the Puranjani had 11 followers, the 10, 5 Jnandiyas, 5 Karmendriyas and mind. So they are the senses. And the ministers are the controlling deities of the mind and other senses. They did not respect him. They did not respect him means they are not working for his pleasure. Even though they want to work for his pleasure, there is nothing to give him pleasure because the entire city is destroyed. So in that way, just like Prabhupada mentioned, na, the eyes will have some disease. They can't see anything. Even the person has a desire to see, the eyes does not cooperate. Even the person want to hear something, the ears does not cooperate. His hearing capacity becomes very low. People have to shout in front of him. Otherwise, they have to tell 10 times. The mind cannot understand, contemplate what exactly others are saying. We will keep asking, what is that? What is that? What is that? Otherwise, in a minute, he will again ask same thing. He quickly forgets. He cannot remember. So in that way. The word chai indicates that they could not at all perform their functions. And as well, the wife, intelligence, had no power of apprehension. Even though if we say something, the old person can't understand what exactly we are saying. He will keep asking, matlab kya, matlab kya, matlab kya. It's like that. Because none of the senses will cooperate with the person in old age. That is, they become indifferent. They are no more cooperative. They no more give the fulfillment of happiness. Even though the person has a lot of desires to enjoy, but none of the senses are cooperative. So now text number 8. Atmanam kanyaya grastam panchalan aridushitan duranta chintam apanno nalebe tat pratikriyam.
King Puranjana saw that all his family members, relatives, followers, servants, secretaries, and everyone else had turned against him. He certainly became very anxious, but he could not counteract the situation because he was thoroughly overwhelmed by Kalakanya.
Seeing himself attacked by old age and the districts plundered by the enemy, he became very worried but could not find a remedy. He could not find a solution because once destroyed, he could not reconstruct the city. That is a big process. Once it is destroyed, it is gone. To reconstruct like long time. So that's why he could not find a remedy. Once in the old age, when some body limbs becomes dysfunctional, it is very difficult to make it functional again. Whatever you may do, it will not. The bodily limbs does not cure the way we may expect. One has to continue with the dysfunctional body limbs only. That's what it is. He could not find a remedy. He cannot reconstruct the city once it is damaged for life. So in that way. He was attacked by old age and the 5 sense objects were spoiled by disease. He could not find no cures by mantras or medicine. Even the old person is administered so many medicine and in the past by mantra, recovery through mantra. None of these can bring back one's life or one's healthy body back. One may extend it for a few more days or few more weeks or at next few more months or years, but it cannot be brought back. So that's why he said that na pratikriyam. There is no remedy for that. So Prabhupada writes same thing. Of course, it is about the previous verse. In the previous purport, this purport, same thing continues. When a person becomes old, the family members become indifferent. They don't respect that person. Kamam abhilashandino yatayamamsha kanyaya vigatatma gatisneha putradaram chalalayan.
Objects of enjoyment became tamed by the influence of Kalakanya. Due to the continuance of his lusty desires, King Puranjana became very poor in everything. Thus, he did not understand the aim of life. He was still very affectionate towards his wife and children, and he worried about maintaining them.
So he desired to eat. Even the old person also has a desire to eat palatable dishes. The foods were useless because he cannot digest. If there is a desire to eat. If he eats, he cannot digest. There is a pain. If he does not eat, because he has not eaten, there is another pain. Both the ways there is pain. By the influence of old age, he was miserable, having lost a higher status in next life, and having lost the affection for his sons and others in this life. In the old age, because none of the family members are respecting him, now taking care of him, not providing him expected enjoyment. So he feels that I am failed in this life, I am failed for my next life. We'll discuss that. But he remained affectionate to sons and wife. Even though they are not showing to him affection, but he remained affectionate to them. The understanding is he desired sweets, but they were useless since he could not digest them. He wants to he wants to eat the sweets, but if he eats sweet, he cannot digest. He lost the goal of life. He lost the goal of a better next life and lost the goal of this life, affection from sons and family. The goal of this life is the whole life is spent showing his affection towards his family members. End of his life, he expects affection from his family members. But now, as I mentioned in previous verse, they became indifferent to him. So he lost the goal of this life. And the goal of next life is to go to Swarga. Or from Bhagavatam point of view, goal of next life is to go back home back to Godhead. We saw from the beginning that he was only doing Dharma Artha Kama. He was never made endeavor to go for moksha. So he lost that also. So in both way, he became failure life. He was miserable because of losing life's goal and the affection of his sons. In this life, he was miserable because no one is showing affection to him in return. Everyone has become indifferent to him. Though he was expecting to get something, he is not getting. He himself cannot, he is not in a position to accept it, but he has a desire to accept it. And the senses are also not cooperative. You want to see something, the eyes are covered with retina and all that diseases is there. A lot of eyesight is there, can't. You want to hear, the ears are not working. You want to smell, the smelling is not working. You want to speak, speaking also does not work at some point of time. You want to breathe, breathe also does not work. That's why it is mentioned in another letter. He keeps producing gurgur sound. Breathing also stops functioning slowly, slowly. So in that way. So here Prabhupada writes in terms of taking the point of that he lost a higher status in the next life. For that Prabhupada writes, in a civilization of sense gratification, there cannot be spiritual life because a person thinks only of this life. In a civilization where eat, sleep, be merry, that is the philosophy of the civilization, they don't have any concept of next life. And although the next life is a fact, no information is given about it. In any of our school texts, starting from nursery, LKG, UKG, first class, second class, third class, fourth class, fifth class, sixth class, seventh class, eighth class, ninth class, 10th class, +1, +2, undergraduation, first year, second year, third year, fourth year, post graduation, PhD, PDoc. Anywhere do they talk about next life in our modern education? No one talks about maybe some people may talk sometimes. I mean,
Some specific.
sometimes either good or bad. They say that पुण्य करो next जन्म में ये होगा वो होगा क्या पाप किया ये जन्म में ऐसा हो गया. Like some good or bad, they connect to it. May not be in a daily discussion, but sometime when something happens, they'll say that. If somebody is like, I mean, may not be in the cities, but in the villages, when somebody comes out, uh, does good in studies, they say that I mean पहला जन्म में बहुत पुण्य किया इसलिए ये जन्म में आपको इतना अच्छा बुद्धि मिला. It's like that. At least the previous generation is still. And nowadays they say that your IQ is very high. Like that only they say. They don't connect it to previous life or anything like that. So, in that
I
way.
is more prominent.
Huh?
I is more prominent.
Yeah. So in that way. But at least in the past, everything is connected to. But in terms of Vedic education, everything begins with that. Everything begins with the our study of Bhagavad Gita. Everything is connected to previous life. Everywhere in the connection to the previous life only. Because we always talk about karma. Bhagavad Gita 5 topics: Ishvara, Jiva, Prakriti, Kala, Karma. Karma is there from the beginning to end. That's what na Arjuna says, I want to do this duty. I don't want to do this karma only. Krishna says, do it. So that's where the whole topic goes on. So Nardamni further continues. Gandharvayavanaakrantam Kalakamyopa Kalakanyopamarditam Hatum Prachakrame Raja Tam Purim Anikamata.
City of King Puranjana was overcome by the Gandhar and Vaibhav. And although the king had no desire to leave the city, he was circumstantially forced to do so, for it was matched by Kalaka.
Both the sides is attacked. Though he did not desire to do, the king began to abandon the city, which was being crushed by the old age and attacked by the Gandharvas and Yavanas. Simultaneously, three people attacked him: Kalakanya, Gandharvas, and Yavanas Akrantam. So he cannot withstand simultaneous attack of three different people. So he wanted to. Anyway, the city is no more pleasing. Every garden is destroyed. So he thought that there is no point in staying in the city. Let me leave. What was the verse from second chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Leaving the body. When one leaves the body, what the concept of leaving the body, entering into new body is explained.
Dehinasmin yathane.
Okay, that is simple. Vashamcha jirnani yata vihaya navani grihnani naroparani. When the old dress is worn out, it is no more useful. So they gives up the old dress and wears the new dress. Same way, since the city of nine gates has been destroyed by Kalakanya, Gandharvas, and Yavanas. So he wanted to give up that city so that he can go to next city where he can continue to enjoy some more time. So that was the situation. Anikamata means though not desiring to do so. He was very happy in the city for the last 100 years in the company of his wife, children, servants, followers, everyone. So leaving a city means it is a painful process. Leaving the human body is painful process. It is compared to the biting of the 40,000 scorpions or something like that. Gandharvas are the soldiers of Chandavega. Chandavega is time personified. Gandharvas attacking means the time is passing. The time is coming close to 100 years. Assuming that he lived for 100 years. So at the end, one has to count backward. 10 more days left. 9 more days left. 8 more days left. 7, 6, 4, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, Jello. So one side, the Gandharvas are attacking day by day. And the other side, the Gandharvas are the day and nights. Other side, the Yavanas are attacking. Yavanas are the soldiers of Bhaya, the fear personified, which are the mental and physical diseases. Other side, the intolerable diseases entering and increasing number. So one wants to leave immediately. अभी कितना सहन कर सकता हूँ मैं नहीं सहन करूंगा अभी छोड़ देता हूँ so one time is pushing get out other time diseases coming one after the other they are exponentially increasing so one wants to leave the body even though it is very difficult to leave that body because one lived in that body for 100 years enjoyed a lot. So giving up, that means giving up everything, whatever one has, because this person is identifying with the body, identifying with the city. So that way he goes through huge pain, which is compared to the biting of 40,000 scorpions. Very difficult. So not only the human body, anything small thing also, if you see, when we work hard and achieve something, immediately someone comes or destroys it, someone comes or steals it away. What kind of pain we go through? Not because the object has gone, because the object is the result of our hard labor. Our entire hard labor has become useless, for which we feel so much painful.
So what should be the outlook of a devotee over here?
Devotee outlook should be Yukta Vairagya.
Every day we also have our family, friends, occupation. We are also attached to all of these things.
हाँ,
We will also have to leave all of that.
हम्म,
थोड़ा तो होता है ना attachment. लिप्त वैराग्य नहीं होता.
अटैचमेंट होता है, बट इसलिए हम डे वन से हम वही सुन रहे हैं ना, भगवत गीता शुरू से एंड तक वही है कॉन्सेप्ट, भागवतम शुरू से एंड तक वही कॉन्सेप्ट है. हु इज स्पीकिंग भागवतम टू whom? Speaking to Parikshit Maharaj. So what is the condition of Parikshit Maharaj now? He is, at least from external circumstances, are forcing him to renounce everything. But in our case, it is not so. But we should also understand that death can come anytime. Just like Prahlad Maharaj and Parikshit Maharaj unexpectedly got it. So like that can come. So we should be ready for that. As soon as he heard that he is going to die in 7 days, he gave up everything. He became detached from everything. That is not a 1 minute resolution. His whole lifetime practice is like that. Though he is living in the midst of all the kingly opulences, but he was not too attached to all those things. And right time came, he is ready to give up in one minute. That is only possible if we practice the same mentality throughout our life. It cannot come one day. So if death comes unexpectedly, what happens is what is happening to Puranjana. One is forced to give up, even though one does not want to give up. One side time is pushing, other side the Yavanas are pushing. Either we do voluntarily or we are forced to do it. There is no in between. So for voluntary, we need to practice. That practice is by hearing Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita. We are hearing Bhagavatam is just to develop that only. What is that second verse? Bhagavatam first canto second chapter. The first verse is Savai Vamsha Puro Dharma. Uske baad verse. What is that next verse? Anyone from online? 1 to 7. No, that is 8, I think. Savai Pumsha Paro Dharma Ayeto Bhakti Radoshje Ayetuki Apratyata Yatma Suprasidati. The next verse of this.
वासुदेवे
वासुदेवे
भगवति
भगवती
भक्ति योग
भक्ति योग
प्रयोजिता
प्रयोजिता
जनयत्यशु वैराग्यो ज्ञानम च तदैव.
Vasudeve Bhagavati. When we execute Vedi Sadhana Bhakti, we are supposed to progress towards Bhava Bhakti and Prema Bhakti. That is a gradual progression expected. Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. The first Vasudeve Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojita. The Prayojita Bhakti Yoga is Prayojan Bhakti Yoga, that is Bhava Prema. So Vasudeva Bhagavati is Sadhana Bhakti. Sadhana Bhakti should lead to Prema Bhakti. By the way, as one is progressing towards Prema Bhakti, Jnanam and Vairagya will come automatically. They will come automatically. Jnanam is about knowledge about one's own Atma, knowledge about the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord's Nama, Rupa, Gunalila. That is what we are hearing every day in doubt. At least now we are theoretically hearing. Slowly we will get realization of those things as one comes close to Bhava and Prema. At the same time, one develops Vairagya with respect to the material world. That is, it will happen. As long as our bhakti does not progress towards Bhava Prema, the Jnana Vairagya will not take place. as one bhakti progresses towards Bhava Prema, then only Jnana Vairagya will manifest. Otherwise, they will not manifest. Till then, we may be superficially practicing bhakti. We have proper attachment and no knowledge about the spirit, but knowledge about matter. Thorough knowledge about matter. So, in that way only we will continue. So in that way, that is one parameter to understand. How much Vairagya we have, that much we have progressed. So like that we can.
Otherwise,
Otherwise, we need to work hard. Whether we work hard voluntarily or we made to we are forcibly work. Yeah. So in that way. So here Prabhupada writes that same thing. When a living entity separate from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, not willing to serve the Lord, one is forced to come to this material world, forced to go through repeated cycle of birth and death, and one is accompanied by Kalakanya, Gandharvas, Yavanas, Chandavega, Baya, Prajvara, all these people will come along with us. We are affected by them again and again, time and again. The same story repeats again and again. So Prabhupada writes in the second paragraph, first 3 lines, the living entity wishes to enjoy the material world in different ways, and therefore, by nature's law, he is allowed to transmigrate from one body to another, exactly as a person transmigrates from one body of an infant to a child, to a boy, to a youth, to a man. This is Dehinosmin verse. Dehinosmin yata dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara prapte dhira tattarna nishati. So one is supposed to become dhira. So the same paragraph, at last 4 lines, Prabhupada writes, because the living entity does not hope to enter the spiritual kingdom of eternal life, bliss and knowledge, Sachidananda Loka. He wants to stick to the present body, even though it may be useless. Consequently, the greatest welfare activity in this material world is the furthering of Krishna consciousness movement. So Prabhupada says that the one and only welfare activity for the self is Krishna consciousness, because that alone will inform a person who need to work hard for going back home and do it. Otherwise, all other things are all trying to improve on standard of material life in this material world only. So like that, Prabhupada continues. So then what happened? When old age Gandharvas and Yavanas attacked, then what next? Bayanamno agrajo bratra prajvara pratyupastita dadaha tam purim krishnam bhratu priya chikirshaya.
Under the circumstances, the elder brother of Yavanraj, known as Prajvara, set fire to the city to please his younger brother, whose other name is Fear itself.
Old age attacked, the diseases came, fear came, then one person remaining is Prajvara, the elder brother of Bhaya. He also comes one day. Fear's elder brother Prajvara arrived and burned the city completely, desiring to please his brother. The soldiers can destroy different plants, different trees, and different walls, like that. Gates, doors. What soldiers can destroy with their hands is superficially. But all together, one can destroy the entire city by burning it. Burning will destroy completely. Once it is burnt, you can't go. Only when a part is destroyed, you can reconstruct that part. That can be done. But if burn ho gaya, it is no useful. You have to replace it with new one, everything. So after some time, when there was old age, when there were a lot of diseases, when there is a fear of how to overcome and fear of losing the body, fear of losing the enjoyment. Then suddenly one fine day comes Prajwara. He burns the entire city. When the city is burnt, it is no more useful. It can't uh, uh, revived back. Burning is burning. Okay. Prajwara is Vishnu Jwara. Of course, here Prajwara is Vishnu Jwara and Shiva Jwara combined. What is Shiva Jwara? Shiva Jwara is 107 degrees Celsius temperature, and Vishnu Jwara is 0 degrees or minus 4 degrees Celsius. If you have observed, first time I read it in Krishna book. In one chapter of Krishna book, there was fight between Lord Krishna and Banasura. Lord Shiva promised Banasura to protect his city. So when Krishna came along with the Yadavas, Lord Shiva comes to help Banasura. Lord Shiva comes along with Lord Shiva, Kartikeya, Ganesha, everyone comes. Yakshas, Rakshasas, Bhutapatis, they all come. So at one point of time, Lord Shiva's weapon, Shiva Jwara, was released by Lord Shiva. In order to counteract that, Lord Vishnu releases his weapon, Vishnu Jwara. There was a fight between Vishnu Jwara and Shiva Jwara. And eventually, the Shiva Jwara got defeated. It could not tolerate Shiva Jwara. Sir, it could not tolerate Vishnu Jwara. Shiva Jwara came forward to Krishna and fell flat at the feet of Krishna and offered some prayers, begged forgiveness, and then it went away. It was not destroyed. So there Prabhupada writes that Shiva Jwara means high temperature, extreme temperature. When a person is about to die, the body temperature becomes very high. When the temperature becomes, even normally also when person gets typhoid, they ask what is the temperature? 103, 104, 105, 106. If it goes from 106 to 107, person dies. At least nowadays, of course, we have so much medical facilities. But otherwise, people who cannot afford so much, at the small kids, generally small kids only get typhoid. The temperature goes high. 107 means they die. After death, if you touch the body, it will be very cold, like ice cold. So Prabhupada says that Shiva Jwara raised the temperature to extreme levels of temperature. Because of the temperature, all organs in the body are completely burnt. They become dysfunctional. Then at one go, Vishnu Jwara comes and cools down the entire temperature. In the meantime, the soul leaves the body. In the fight, Prabhupada writes in the Krishna book, fight between fire and ice. Who will become victorious? Ice. Because ice is difficult to. Fire one can tolerate, but ice is difficult. Prabhupada will say. Because the ice is there. Even though if ice melts, it becomes water. Both ice and water can extinguish fire. And fire can't change its form. It's like that only. So that's how the city is burnt by Prajwara indicates that initially the temperature of the body increases, all the body limbs becomes dysfunctional. Then the body temperature suddenly drops down to 0. Then the soul leaves the body. That's why a person after a death, the entire body becomes stiff. That is because the temperature reduced.
Seen doctors
Hare
touching the bones of the person who's not well. Which means if it is cold, it's a possibility that person is very possible.
Yes, Mataji.
Yeah, Prabhuji, there are two things. One thing is, I just have a doubt that do everybody which meets its death, everyone will have the increased temperature, because sometimes we do see that.
Okay.
Hare Krishna. Yeah,
Hmm.
that was one thing. And other thing is, like you mentioned, and in the book also it is written that Shiva Jwara will be defeated by Vishnu Jwara.
Hmm.
And we saw that at the time of death, the temperature increases, but when the soul leaves the body, then the Vishnu Jwara takes over, and then the temperature decreases. And means Vishnu Jwara defeats the Shiva Jwara. That's what we discussed. So means
Yes.
this victory is of what kind? Like, because when the soul already leaves the body, then what is the point if that dead body's temperature remains high or it cools down? It doesn't make any difference, no, Prabhuji. Like, it's how we understand it. That
No, because
victory
he,
of
no.
Vishnu Jwara.
Prabhupada
Yeah.
says that as long as the Vishnu Jwara defeating Shiva Jwara indirectly indicates that even though temperature becomes 107, the soul struggles to stay in the body. But the temperature when falls down to zero, the soul cannot remain in the body. The soul is forced to leave the body. The
Okay,
soul can fight with high temperature. It can fight with Shiva Jwara. But when the body is attacked by Vishnu Jwara, the soul can't stay even 1 second. It has to leave. It will be forced to leave that body. So
okay,
that is
that
the understanding.
yeah, that means at the time of death itself, the temperature drops, right?
Ah, yes. Yes, yes.
Okay, okay, fine. Yeah,
Because we
fine.
can't see in a perceivable way when the soul is leaving the body. So, but after the soul leaves the body, we see the body temperature is low. So when the temperature becomes too low, matlab, this may not be long time. For few, maybe fraction of second, it may be too low, itna low, that soul can't stay there. It is
Ah,
forced to leave.
yeah, yeah.
Then later on,
Right.
it becomes like normal cold, maybe like a little lower than the room temperature.
Mhm. Right, yeah.
Mm.
Because
Because
now,
Shiva Jivara took the temperature too high, that has to be
mm,
cooled down instantly. So the Vishnu Jivara cools down the entire temperature and also brings the body to -4 degrees
mm-hmm.
for
Okay,
for few fraction of seconds.
okay. So, and this Prajvara is means Vishnujara and Shivajvara combined, that is Prajvara, it is called.
Ah, yes, yes, yes.
So, every body which meets its death, these both Jwaras will act at the time of death.
Yes, yes. Both will come. Prajvara represents both Shiva Jivara and Vishnu Jivara. So in
Okay,
that.
irrespective of the soul, devotee, non-devotee, whatever, but the process is same, right?
Yeah, of course. In the case of devotee, we don't know. When there could be some difference also, but generally for a human body, it is like that. But especially we are talking about the Puranjana, a person like a religious person who is like Puranjana. So it
Okay,
happens like that. And for
okay.
a irreligious person, it might happen so vehemently. For a devotee, it may happen a little considerably.
Little. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So in that
Okay.
way, you can
Yeah.
take.
Thank you.
अस्यां सन्दय्यमानायां सपौरा सपरिच्छदा कौटुम्बिका कुटुम्बिन्या उपातप्यत सान्वया.
He was that the citizens and servants of the king, as well as all family members, sons, grandsons, wives, and other relatives, were within the fire. King Puranjana thus became very unhappy.
As the city began burning, the king, along with the citizens, routine, his wife, and extended family, began to feel the heat. When there is fire, the people living inside the body will feel that inside the house will obviously feel heat. So they want to escape from that burning home. No one can tolerate the fire. It is very difficult to tolerate the fire. The citizens are the seven dhatus. The body is covered by the seven dhatus. They are compared to the citizens here. The citizens of the city are compared to the seven dhatus. The routine or servants are the senses. We have jnanendriyas, karmendriyas, mind, all these things are the entire routine. And then Kautumbika means one who enjoys with the wife. He suffered along with his intelligence. The Puranjana, who living in the city was enjoying all these years, but now, along with his wife, servants, followers, with everyone, going through the pain due to fire. The fire is burning in and out everywhere. So in that way. The descendants are the sons and grandsons, and everyone is attacked by Shiva Jwara. The city is burning. So no one can continue to stay in the burning home. They eagerly want to get out of that burning home. So that is what is happening. So at the time of death, the entire body temperature becomes more and more. It's very difficult to continue. Even if some of us have gone through malaria or typhoid or any other such fever, very difficult. When there is temperature increase, very difficult to tolerate. यवनोपरुद्धायनतो ग्रस्तायां कालकन्यया पुर्यां प्रज्वार संसृष्टा पुरपालोन्व तप्यता.
The city superintendent of police, the serpent, saw that the citizens were being attacked by Kalakanya, and he became very aggrieved to see his own residence at a place after being attacked by the Yavanas.
When the city was being attacked by old age, the protector of the city, seeing his abode attacked by Yavanas and himself touched by Prajvara, became most distressed. The protector of the city, Purapala, is the breathing. While everyone inside the Antapura was unable to tolerate the fire, they are going through miserable condition. At the main entrance, the snake also unable to tolerate the fire, feeling intense pain. He became the most distressed. He the most suffering party compared to everyone. The protector of the city was a snake with the life air. Because he cannot breathe anymore. We can breathe when atmosphere is proper. When there is a lot of fire, there are a lot of smoke. We cannot breathe in the midst of smoke or fire. That's why in the fire accident, generally people lose consciousness not because of fire, but because lack of oxygen. Because of that breathlessness. Everywhere it is carbon monoxide and they cannot breathe. So they become unconscious. If they are not given oxygen immediately, they lose the body for no reason. Not because of fire, not because of anything. Just because there is no sufficient oxygen, they lose the body. So among all the people, the snake is the most affected. It cannot breathe. And even if you see in the old scriptures, snake and fire does not go together. When there is fire, we can cross across the fire. The animals can jump. Snakes cannot go. If you have seen any serials connected to Rama and Mahabharata, if you want to capture the snake, they generally throw an arrow with that, they make a circular fire. Snake cannot come out. Snake and fire does not go together. The only way to bind the snake is put fire around it. It cannot tolerate the fire. Snake's body is also very cold. Naseke sovitum tatra पुरुकृच्छ्रोरुवेपथु गन्तुम् ऐच्छ ततो वृक्षा कोटराद् इव सानलात्.
As a serpent living within the cavity of a tree wishes to leave when there is a forest fire, so the city's police superintendent, the snake, wished to leave the body due to the fire severe heat.
He could not protect the city. He means the snake, the five-headed snake who was acting as Purapala, the guarding of the entire city. For 100 years, he was protecting the city. We discussed even when we go to sleep also, the breathing is happening. The breathing cannot stop. Breathing stops. Horrible. He could not, now he cannot protect the city, undergoing great difficulty and quivering to the extreme. He desired to leave the city, just as a snake desires to leave hollow tree, which is on fire. The snake wants to always tries to find an escape, get out of the fiery area. That you remember Mahabharat, Kandava forest. Agni's desire was, I have to eat the forest along with all the entities in that forest. No one should escape. So when Arjuna was protecting the forest from the rain, so the other living entities were trying to escape, and through arrows Arjuna used to kill them. One snake mother, the snake father gone somewhere, snake mother, the snake father was Takshaka. Snake mother had small snakes, snake children. It swallowed the snake children. The small kids, what you call, I don't remember. It swallowed. And that snake trying to jump across a tree. Arjuna shoot an arrow. The snake was divided into two parts. The abdomen was cut into two pieces. The small snake, which is there in the mouth of the mother snake, it is still there. And that head portion of the snake went outside the forest. And the small snake was saved. And it remembered it was Arjuna who killed my mother for no reason. My mother was trying to escape, but he cut off her in two pieces. And he became angry at Arjuna. After he grew up, he requested Karna to use him. He was like Nagasra. He has some Ashwasena or some name is there. So he became the Nagasra. So at one point of time, Karna released that Nagasra weapon, who wanted to take revenge. But Krishna actually pressed the chariot underneath. So the arrow hits the crown and fell down, and the crown actually burned to ashes because that Nagastra is so powerful. So then the snake again came to Karna. Please use me once again. Karna says, no, I will not use. I will only use once. I will not use once again. That Nagarsa wanted. Some say that it took shelter of some other. It actually entered into the quiver without the notice of Karna. When Karna released some other weapons, that time Nagastra went along with the arrow. But second time Arjuna destroyed the weapon. First time, sometime he could miss, but second time he did not miss. So then, since the mother is killed, the son is killed by Arjuna. Since Takshaka could not take revenge on Arjuna, but he took revenge on the grandson of Arjuna, Parikshit Maharaj. So it's like family dispute. It's full family dispute. Of course, one side Shringi's curse is there, but on the other side, it was his own personal agenda. That's why in the 11th, 12th canto, they mentioned that even Takshaka was coming. There is not Takshaka. When Takshaka was coming, there was a Brahmana known as Kashyapa. He had that potency. When something is burnt, he can revive the body. He was coming towards Parikshit Maharaj, so that when Takshaka comes and bites, burns him, he can revive the Parikshit Maharaj. But the in between, they meet each other. They ask, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to kill Parikshit Maharaj." Then he asks, "Where are you going?" "I'm going to revive Parikshit Maharaj." "Do you have that much potency?" "Yes, I have potency." "Let us test." So Takshaka, through his venom, he burnt a tree, a big tree there, and taking the ashes, chanting some mantras, he revived the tree back. Then Takshaka understood, "Oh, this person has a lot of potency." Then if Parikshit Maharaj again becomes alive, what will happen? He said, "What do you want?" "I want Dakshina." "I'll give you double the Dakshina. Please go back." This person, he is only looking for Dakshina. He took the money and went back. Of course, that is Paramatma also inspired. He Parikshit Maharaj again revived. There is no point. Bhagavatam, Bhagavatam is given. Bhagavatam is already given. But if he is again born, then people read Bhagavatam to reborn, not to go back to Godhead. So Paramatma inspired him to take the money and go back. So then Takshaka came and continued.
There was
Sir,
also one.
Parikshit.
Yeah.
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
There was also one point
Ashu.
in this story, Prabhuji, like what I had read that Takshaka asked, means he sees that yes, he has the power to revive Parikshit Maharaj. So he says that yes, you can bring the burnt thing to life again. But do you think that you can counteract the Brahmana's curse? That was also one point he had said, like that because what Parikshit Maharaj was having the Brahmana's curse, na, so Takshaka defeated him in that way that you can't overcome the Brahmana's curse.
Yeah, that is also there. But even if we can take it, you can. Brahmana's curse is that he is supposed to be uh, beaten by a snake. That curse is done. After that curse is fulfilled, he is reviving. So he is not
Okay,
counteracting completely. But
okay, okay.
Paramatma inspired him to go back. Otherwise, the Bhagavatam purpose will be redirected to some other direction. People who
Yeah,
are
and
about to die, they will read Bhagavatam and they will again revive their lifespan. So it
this
is not
last
the.
part I didn't understand, Prabhuji. What you are saying, na Bhagavad read करके reborn होने का सोचते means what exactly you
If Parikshit Maharaj's body would have been revived by this Brahmana,
अच्छा
uh,
okay
after hearing 7 days the entire Bhagavatam, if one's body is revived, that is
okay
what one will try here.
yeah
We are
right
about to die, we'll hear Bhagavatam and our body will be revived and we'll continue to live. So that is not the
okay
purpose.
yeah
Hearing Bhagavatam is to get preparing to go back to Godhead, not to stay here.
yeah right yeah thank you.
In that way. He could not protect the city, for he became weak after fighting with the Gandharvas for 100 years. He desired to live just as snake desired to leave a tree hole which is on fire. So it's like that. Any questions?
No, Prabhuji, thank you.
Okay, okay. I'm extremely sorry today. So many obstructions in between here and there. But here we have some devotees. They need to take some prasadam. Malab, they need to take out prasadam. So we'll have a couple of minutes break. Then we'll continue.
Okay. Prabhuji. Some doubts are there from the last chapters. At the end, I will ask. Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna will continue. Shitilavayavayo yarihi Gandharvairhuta Paurusha Yavaner Aribirajan Uparuddo Rurodaha.
The limbs of the serpent's body were slackened by the Gandharvas and Yavana soldiers, who had thoroughly depleted his bodily strength. When he attempted to leave the body, he was checked by his enemies. Being thus baffled in his attempt, he began to cry loudly.
O king, when his limbs were weakened by the Gandharvas, because he was fighting with the Gandharvas for last 100 years. Every breathing is kind of fight against the time. And his strength stolen by the Yavanas. Now Yavanas have come in and the entire city was plundered, destroyed, dismantled. Finally, Prajvara came, everything is under fire. The entire city is burning. As a result of that, Yavanas and also the Yavana Raja and his elder brother, his throat became choked up. There is fire everywhere. Can you breathe? And he became the death rattle. This is what happens a person in old age. As the bodily temperature is increasing, the entire already old, the entire body filled with lot of diseases, and the temperature is rising. Breathing is very painful. Can't breathe properly. As death approaches, he made a rattling sound in his throat. The breathing process itself produces rattling sound. The breathing cannot happen properly. It is very difficult to continue with full breathing. Even we have that experience of when we have a kind of cold. Some cold has running nose, some cold has dry nose. So one of the two nostrils becomes blocked, especially when we are sleeping. When standing, nothing will happen. When we go to bed, one will become closed. With other one, difficult to breathe. Sometimes both are closed. Very difficult to breathe. When we need to open our mouth and breathe for some time, then suddenly one gets open. Again, I generally I get up and wash both the nostrils, putting some water, and for some time it becomes normal. Again, when you lie down, again one nostril become blocked. Very difficult. You can't get sleep. You can't breathe also, and breathing becomes with mouth you can't breathe properly. It is slow process, and it's like painful process. I mean, normally when we are healthy itself, just because some cold, blocking nose, so much problem is there. Then what to speak of the old age? There's a lot of mucus in the body, so the breathing is choked up. And Prabhupada says that the snake wanted to leave, that the Yavanas are not allowing him. He wanted to escape from the fiery atmosphere, but the soldiers are attacking him and not to. कहाँ जाएंगे आप भी आपको भी जलना चाहिए इधर भागने का नहीं, something like that. This is the struggle to exist in the old age.
Mucus come.
Ah.
Mucus come in old age. I mean, before death.
In other ages, mucus comes, we can clean. Old age में clean भी नहीं कर सकते.
I remember my grandmother to say, a lot of mucus has come. It's time for me to go.
Yes, it will come.
Now I'm recollecting that. Old age mucus.
Even in that chapter also it comes a lot of mucus. Even Bhagavatam में जब last chapter में ना Vidura was telling Dhritarashtra, you already become old, you born blind, you are spiritually blind, you can't even breathe no properly, your body is filled with a lot of mucus, you can't even breathe properly. How long you want to stay home, get out, like that he was chastising. Yeah, mucus increases at that time. Kapavata pitta, kanta varoda. The entire kanta is filled with mucus. One can't speak, one can't breathe, One can't eat also.
They had knowledge.
Huh?
They had this knowledge.
मतलब शास्त्र में है ना, everything is there in shastra, they know all
Connected.
these things, so it is there. That's why he said that now at least my health is good, I can chant, I can remember, please take me. At that time I don't know what my mind will think. Oh, I can't even chant, I can't even pronounce your name, I don't know what will happen, take me right now. Manasa Raja Hamsa. Doing that. It increases. See, once Kapavata Pitta, all the three becomes abnormal. The temperature increases, Pitta is increasing, Kapha also increases, the mucus is there all over the body. It cannot properly
It's
cleared.
not because of milk. Because we used to think because you are drinking milk, you are getting this kapha.
No, whatever they eat, the
But
mucus will
cheese is
produce.
a-
Because they can't digest now, whatever they eat, they can't digest. Because they can't digest, it comes out of the mucus. Mucus in one sense, it is undigested food, improperly digested food. Especially when there is cold, we have a lot of mucus formed. Because at the time of cold, the body becomes, body temperature becomes low. The interaction becomes low. It can't digest all the food. So somewhere half digested food becomes the mucus and comes out. Mucus or sputum keeps coming out. I don't know. Doctors can tell better. Any thoughts on this, Mataji? Why mucus is formed in the old age more? Or how mucus forms normally?
Yeah, actually means what you were saying now, respiratory tract, basically lot of mucus is formed. So that collects in the lungs and means in Bhagavatam also that slok is then a kante gurgura ayate. So
Yes, third
throat
canto
and
it is there.
the larynx and basically larynx and lungs, that part the mucus starts collecting, and that is where the breathing process first gets hampered. The digestive
But the question is how that mucus is formed?
because those mucus forming glands are there already in the respiratory system. So that
Okay.
is why whenever there is any infection, bacterial or viral, common cold also, if we get, there is a lot of mucus secretion from the nose. So whatever secretion is there from the nose, that is mucus. Like this. So those glands are already there, but they secrete normally, like how our nasal cavity is moist. It is not completely dry in the normal state. But when there is cold or something, they start over secreting. Somebody gets sinusitis. So
Yes.
sinuses, that glands are already there, mucus secreting, but normally they don't trouble. They secrete in a normal quantity, whatever is required. But when there is sinusitis, they excessively secrete mucus, and that is why sinuses gets filled with that mucus, and then person feels that headache and breathing difficulties and all those.
Is the mucus and the sputum both are same?
No. Sputum is general secretion, whatever the salivary gland secretion is sputum. But mucus gland secretion is that thick mucus what we get means at the time. Means suppose somebody gets cough also, when we take out, when there is a lot of cough and after coughing we take out something. So that thick thing is mucus. But normally suppose you once spits thing, so whatever salivary glands in the mouth are there, their secretion is sputum.
Okay, okay. Okay, Mataji, thank you. We'll go on.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, you want to say something, Mataji?
No, Prabhuji.
Of course, Prabhupada quotes the same verse. Krishna Tvadiya Pada Pankaja Panjarantam. Because that mucus increases, where it is Karantavaroda Anavido Smaratam Kutaste. I can't even remember you. Please take me right now. At that time, no one knows what happens. So in that way. So on one side, though the snake want to get out of the fiery foam, the Yavanas are not allowing it. So it is getting burnt. The snake does not go well with fire. It is forced to go with fire. So that is too double painful for activity for the snake. Then what is happening inside the city? Duhitru putra pautramscha Jami Jamatru Parshadan Svatva Vasishtam Yatkinchit Grihakosha Parichadam Aham Mameti Svikritya Gruheshu Kumatir Dadyau Prama Dadyau Pramadayadino Viprayoga Upastite.
King Puranjana then began to think of his daughters, sons, grandsons, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, servants, and other associates, as well as his household paraphernalia, and his little accumulation of wealth. King Puranjana was overly attached to his family and conception of I and mine. Because he was overly attracted to his wife, he was already quite poverty stricken. At the time of separation, he became very sorry.
Now, what's happening inside the city? It will know what happening in the exit entry of the city. That he is acting like Dwarpal. At the gate only, he is protecting the entire city. So, what's happening inside? Since he was a foolish householder, he means Puranjana, accepting me and mine concerning his household, he became miserable at impending separation from his wife. Very soon, he is going to be separated from his wife. Previously, he was feeling sorry for the city which was getting burnt. Now he is feeling sorry for he is going to be separated from his wife and other family members. He began to think of his daughters, sons, and grandsons. Duhitru Putra Pautram, daughter-in-laws, son-in-law, and followers. Jami Jamatru Parshadan. If somebody does not know the Sanskrit names of all the family members, you can see here. Duhitra, Putra, Pautra, Jami, Jamatra. Daughter-in-law and son-in-law. Jami, Jamatra. Jamai. Jamai means son-in-law. Remaining proper, sorry.
The word daughter must have come from this word only, Duritra.
Daughter came from Duhitra only. Brata, brother. Mata, Matra, mother. Pitru, father. So like that only. They are derived names. And what is this? He began to think of his daughters, sons, grandsons, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, followers, remaining property, house, treasury, and furniture. This is what one thinks at the time of death. Is there anything beyond these things? What one has is wife, children, who includes sons and daughters. After their marriage, the son-in-law, daughter-in-law, and then eventually their children. They are all grandchildren, and also the relatives. Followers means the relatives, the friends and relatives, all the well-wishers, and the property, what one accumulated, one's own house. Here, both are taken separately. Griha is there, and Gruha, Kosha, Parichadam. Griha is home, Kosha is property, Koshagar. अलमरा के अंदर gold, etc. And then Parichadam and all the household furniture, which was arranged by one's own desire throughout the life and accumulate so much furniture, but according to one's liking. Ye chahiye, wo bhi chahiye, like that. So much furniture is there. One construct the house, brings lot of furniture, and saves lot of money. The savings for future. So one thinks of all these things at the time of death. Whatever one's results of one's hard working, one obviously will remember. Wife, children, grandchildren, home, property, and furniture in the home. Yami means daughter-in-law. Pramadaya Viprayote Upastita means when separated from woman, this does not refer to his intelligence. So now there is one little difference we have to understand now. The understanding is Duhitru Putra Pauschamcha Jami Jamatru Parshadan Swasta Vishtam Ya Kinchit Gruhakosha Parichadam Aham Mameti Swikritya Griheshu Kumati Grihi Dadyau Pramadaya Dino Viprayoga Upaste Pramadaya, the wife. He is feeling that he has to give up his wife. Take the story literally. In a literal story, what is happening in around us? When person dies, one has to leave behind one's wife, leave behind one's children, the grandchildren, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, property, home, all the apparatus, everything. But when the current story is the Puranjana is the soul and Puranjani is intelligence. Intelligence is part of subtle body. Subtle body goes along with the soul. It is cannot be given away. So the understanding here, the Pramadaya is not the intelligence. Pramadaya is about all the facilities that are there in the city, which are like the sense objects, and all put together are all manifested through wife only. When there is wife, there will be the need of home. Then there are children, there are daughter-in-law, son-in-law, there are grandsons, granddaughters, and there is furniture in the home, and there is a need of savings. If there is no wife, no need of all these things. In one sense, first time for VTA induction program, VTA is about to start Monday. Saturday or Sunday we had a induction, introduction class here only in this room. Gaurav Prabhu was here and we are about 45 VTA prospective candidates who are supposed to join VTA next the following week. So he was telling that we have 8 things. Atma means body, Jaya, wife, Suta, children, Agara, home, Dravina, Dravina means kosha, savings, Atma, Jaya, Sutagara, Pashu, vehicle. Pardon understanding vehicle. Everyone has 2-wheeler, 4-wheeler, whatever. Pashu, Dravina, Bandhushu. Atma, Jaya, Suta, Agara. Agara is the home. Dravina is the wealth. Bandhushu is the friends and relatives. We have now here friends and relatives, followers. Parshadam, all the friends and relatives. Everything, the 8 things are there here. You can count also. So his wife, the Pramada is there, and children, daughters and sons, and grandchildren also there, and then followers, remaining property, house and treasury. Everything is there. Rajya cha vikali nityam, virudam mamatam jao. Rajya means one's occupation. So Prabhuji said that if you marry, the wife will come. When wife comes, remaining 6 will come. If you don't marry, only one thing is remaining. That is the body. So a married person's thought process is occupied by all these 8, taking care of 8 things. One has to take care of one's own body, one has to take care of the wife, children, and home, property, and bank balance, savings, relatives who keep coming. So one need to worry about taking care of all these people. When all those people are not there, one will take care of the one's body of equal amount. No, not like that. See, you're not getting the point. When one has all the 8, one worries about all these 8 things. When one does not have all these 8, doesn't mean that one does not have any worries. Whatever worry one has about all these 8 people will be there for one's own body, because one is left with body only. और body के लिए उतना सोचते रहते हैं ये उतना सोचते रहते हैं. So it's like that. Body means the gross body as well as subtle body. One need to tackle both gross body and subtle body. So no one is free. Neither brahmachari or nor grasa, no one is free from anxiety. Where the 2 options are there. Whether you want to be anxious for the 8 things or you want to be anxious for one thing. Choose. So like that. So this is the reality of the life. No one is paid in this world. This refers to a conditioned jiva's normal material wife. This is not about the intelligence, which is dharmic religious wife. A normal material wife, the object of attachment, five sense objects, enjoyed by all the senses. Here, the pramada, the normal material wife, is the entire city, which is made up of five sense objects, which is the source of all enjoyment. So, in that way. The daughters and others mentioned in this verse also refer to the conventional daughters and relatives, not the symbols in the spiritual metaphor. The verse is actually speaking the real story in one sense. These verses you don't have to interpret them in the story which we are discussing, that allegorical story, not required. This is what happens to one and all. All the 8 things are there here. One will worry about all these 8 things at the time of death without fail. Because one has given one's entire life for them. Obviously, there is normal affection. Some say that at the time of death, the jiva thinks of his wife and sons, not of intelligence. One does not think about one's intelligence. One actually thinks of the wife and children, especially. Not of intelligence, discernment, and other elements. Others say that discernment means children. The intelligence as children, which are like the qualities of intelligence, different functions, Nichaya, Viparyasa, and Swapa, and all those things. Others say that dharmic intelligence was previously represented by his wife Puranjani, but at the time of death, there is separation from dharmic intelligence and joining with another intelligence. So at the time of death, one does not think about dharma, doing some more dharma activities. One actually thinks about getting separate from the sense objects. He is more concerned about is getting away from the sense objects than doing the dharmic activities. So in that way. There are statements such as Na mai anasite bhungte. It is from Srimad Bhagavatam 4:28-19, couple of verses later. This refers to a time before the separation from the dharmic intelligence. This will be explained later. The description in this verse presents the idea that I am not satisfied with my actions of dharma. What should I do? Death is now approaching. When he's saying that I am separated from my wife, I have to give up my wife, means I am not done with my dharmartha kama. Okay, dharmartha kama fulfills my desires. That is not done. That because in the beginning, Puranjana was looking for a suitable town where he can enjoy more and more. Somehow he got a human body, but suddenly death came. Time to death came, but he has not done with fulfillment of his desires. That's why he is thinking about his wife and children, with whom he wanted to perform many more dharmic activities. Now he is no more. He can't stay in the city anymore. That's why he's feeling sorry for his condition. So in that way. So the understanding is, since he has to leave behind the gross body, subtle body, not subtle body, gross body, which is source of all enjoyment, one feels that I have not done enough dharma, means dharma which leads to artha, which leads to kama. I have not fulfilled my desires enough. So in that way. So Prabhupada actually gets into more details about all these things. At the time of death, one's family attachment becomes more and more intense. People are actually dying. People are actually worried. What will happen to my family members? Who will take care of them? Who will look after their welfare? Because this person took care of them for the entire life. He's actually worried about their welfare. He actually calls other relatives, tell that I'm going, please take care of them. Don't trouble them. Don't do this. Don't do that. Like that. Especially the father, when he's about to die, he will call sons and mother. So don't trouble your mother. Listen whatever she says. Something like that. Even this is not only at the time of death, even at some times when the children were sent to grandparents' home for studies, the mother tells the children that don't trouble your grandparents so much. So stay sober. Don't create a lot of disturbances to them. That kind of farewell is always there. Same way at the time of death also there is kind of giving the responsibility to somebody else who is have to take the responsibility in that way. That is always there. That's what it becomes more and more at the time of death.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhuji, if I just wanted to see that whether I have understood it correctly, because here we saw that allegorical story what we were studying, that is not to be applied for this verse. Means, because I was feeling that intelligence and these five sense organ, matlab sense, jo subtle sense organs and all these things, as a subtle body, it moves out of the body along with the jiva.
Yes,
So
yes.
yeah, so that means this is not that intelligence which moves along with the soul in the subtle body. The religious intelligence, what we were discussing as Puranjana's wife, that is not the thing which will move along with the jivana. That is why he's feeling bad that now I have to leave my wife.
Yes,
Or
yes, yes.
okay, so which is the type of intelligence which moves with the jiva?
No, actually, here we should see the entire city of 9 gates, which we were talking about as the five sense objects, which are giving enjoyment to the five senses, who are the followers of the Puranjani. So now he has to leave behind the city which is burnt by the Prajvara. Prajvara burnt the entire city. So he is forced to leave the city now. He is forced to leave the city of 9 gates because he can't live anymore. It is under fire now. So he is feeling that I have to leave behind my wife and children, friends, relatives, my remaining property, and all the apparatus. Apparatus means the sitting places and the bank of the water pond in the midst of green trees, which are filled with lot of birds which is chirp. So such kind of things. Everything is getting burnt now. So all the five sense objects combined together is called as pramada. He has to leave behind that pramada now. So in that way.
Sorry, Prabhuji, but like here means whatever we saw in the Puranjana's allegorical story, everything was within the body, right? Means the his children, the desires, the senses, and sense objects. So if the
Hmm.
city means the body is burnt by Prajvara, everyone will have to leave, right? Because nobody will be able to stay in the city because the city is burnt. So yeah, Puranjana means the soul is living, but where then the other things they will go? They will, as a subtle body, they will be going with Puranjana because he's not, means here we are discussing he is not the person who is renounced or at that Brahma Bhuta stage, that subtle body will be separated also at the time of death.
No,
So
here in the current two verses, the children and the wife were actually the city. The city filled with lot of gardens, especially the pleasure gardens. There was a lot of elaborate description about them in the 16th chapter, the previous Chavana chapters. They are considered to be the children and wife, at least now couple of chapter verses.
yeah,
Though the 10 senses and the intelligence follow along with him. But even couple of verses later, we see that the dharmic intelligence, even when the Puranjana leaves this body, then he enters into other species. Only when he again takes birth as a human being, that time the dharmic intelligence reunites with him. Till then, while he is following through the other species, the dharmic intelligence does not accompany him. There is only simple, ordinary, materialistic intelligence accompanies him to do the bare minimum necessary activities. It is the dharmic intelligence which helps one to understand what to do, what not to do, and then take up dharmic activities seriously. Just like animals, they do not discriminate whether something is to be done, something is not to be done. They respond to the needs of the body. Throughout the day, they are hungry, they keep eating. When it is night, when they feel like sleeping, they sleep. They don't make plans. They don't make plans where to sleep. They don't make plans that today I'll sleep underneath the tree, not like that. Wherever they tie to a pole, they sleep there only. They are forced to sleep there only. They don't have any other option. So it's like that.
Okay, so
So
religious intelligence remains dormant till the time when soul gets
one
again.
gets into human species. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
it's like that.
And one more question, Prabhuji, like I don't know whether it's directly related to this. Whenever the subtle body also separates from the soul, when soul reaches to that stage, like Brahma Bhuta stage or something, first at the time of death, whether the subtle body leaves first and then person leaves gross body, or after leaving the gross body also the subtle body can
No, no,
reach a.
no. Along with the subtle body, the soul goes through, process through the 7 layers of the universe. So in those layers, the person leaves behind the subtle body.
Okay.
Not here.
Because in
Leaving behind the subtle body in those 7 layers, the person goes out of the universe.
okay.
Just
So
like a yogi leaves,
yeah,
everyone leaves like that.
okay. Because in Prithu Maharaj's case, we saw that he first separated his subtle body and then finally he left his gross body. That is why I was having this confusion.
Separated means that is a conceptual separation. Even in
Okay.
the Bhagavatam, temple Bhagavatam classes, now the 15th chapter is going now. Yudhishthira, Pandavas retired timely. Even there are verses saying that Yudhishthira Maharaj, the merged the sense objects into senses, senses into the mind, mind into intelligence, intelligence into ahankara, ahankara into Mahatattva, Chetana, etc. etc. It is like the temple has given me this mobile. The temple has given me this laptop. But I decided that I don't want to use the mobile and laptop from now onwards. They are with me only, but I'm not using. They're as good as they are not with me.
Okay.
Though I have not given back to the temple, they are with me only. It is as good as I have already given them back to temple.
Okay. Means that,
So,
that
for
subtle
example,
body,
for example, now 5 days later, I will be leaving temple. Before that, I have to return all my belongings to temple. But from today onwards, I'm not using anything. They're just lying down next to my locker. So I've already given up. Now I don't have any work with them. But actually, in the 5th day, 5 days later, when actually leaving out, I hand over to the concerned department and then go. So it is like that. Even though Prithu Maharaj or Yudhishthira Maharaj, they still have the gross body and subtle body with them, but they don't use them. They are just there. So it's like that.
Hare Krishna.
thank
Yes,
you so much.
Manoj.
Then why is it said that the subtle body is left in the 7 coverings of the universe?
Because that time we have to leave them behind. When we want to get out of the universe, we cannot carry anything with us.
Okay.
In those 7 layers, in the earth layer, we have to give up the sound, yes, fragrance. Gross body we already left here. We are going to the subtle body. That time the 5 tanmatras also come with us. The 5 tanmatras subtle. So the fragrance tanmatra we leave behind in the earth layer. Taste tanmatra in the water layer. Form tanmatra in the fire layer. Touch tanmatra in the air layer. And Shabda sound tanmatra in the ether layer. And 5 jnanendriyas, 5 karmendriyas, the mind, intelligence in the Ahankara layer. And then finally, the breathing and Chetana in the Mahatattva layer. And then one person gets into the spiritual world. First Brahman, then to the Vaikuntha. Moves ahead. So it is
Okay.
like that.
This
That is at
what
the end.
Okay, sorry,
Sorry,
Mataji. You
sorry.
can-
So this is at the end during annihilation. They don't enter the body of Mahavishnu.
No, no. That is those who are entering into Mahavishnu, they are forced to do all these things. See, anyway, it happens either by force. For those it is happening by force, they enter into the body of Mahavishnu. For those who are doing it voluntarily, they enter into either Brahman or Vaikuntha.
Prabhuji, but generally it is said that means at the time means when all the jivas enter Mahavishnu, and when after again is the time of new creation, they come out of the body of Mahavishnu along with whatever desires they had. Accordingly, they will get the bodies in the new creation. So
Yes, perfectly.
that means they have not left their desires. Means subtle body is with them. They have not
Who
left
who have left, not left?
those jivas who come out of Mahavishnu's body at the
Yeah, yeah.
time of
They don't have any subtle body. They only have karma and swabhava. If you remember in second canto, third canto, we discussed that when Mahavishnu glances upon Prakriti, four things enter. Three things are mentioned, but four enters. Kala, karma, swabhava, in the bracket jiva. Only the karma and swabhava will be there along with jiva, not the subtle body.
Okay, so those who enter the Mahavishnu's body, only karma and swabhava will be with them.
Yes, yes,
And
yes. No,
according
no
to
subtle
karma,
body.
yeah, according to karma, they will get the new body.
Yes,
And
yes.
another thing, Prabhuji, like what you were mentioning, that one has to leave the subtle body in the seven coverings, this thing, that whatever we discuss is for those jivas who are at that stage who can leave the subtle body. For them only, na?
For those who want to attain moksha, either Sayujya moksha or Vaikuntha moksha, whether it is for jnanis, yogis, or devotees. That is the process.
Okay. Okay. So means not that every jiva who leaves the body will have to means leave this subtle body in the seven coverings, because they will not go beyond that, right?
But at the time of Mahapralaya, all the other conditioned souls are forced to give up the subtle body and enter into the body of Mahavishnu only with their karma and swabhava. But otherwise, at any point of time, the devotees or jnani bhaktas or yogi bhaktas who are ready to attain moksha, they voluntarily give up the subtle body, passing through the seven layers, and then enter into Brahman or Vaikuntha.
Okay. And Prabhuji, one more last question. Sorry, but because my knowledge is really limited. Like this means those who are not in a stage who will leave the subtle body, they will not be able to pass through these seven coverings and leave the subtle body there. That means till the time one comes to the stage that one can leave his subtle body, the person will remain in the same Brahmanda, right? Because he's not
No, no, no,
Brahmanda.
no. Why are you getting confused? The person will remain in the same Brahmanda till the end of Brahma's 100 years.
Oh.
Afterwards, only one is forced to leave the subtle body also and enter into the body of Mahavishnu and resume one's activities in the next creation.
Okay.
So Prabhuji, when in the next creation, when the jiva comes out of the body of Mahavishnu and takes a birth, maybe
Hmm.
in another Brahmanda, then he gets the same subtle body which he had left in the covering of that Brahmanda which he left.
Uh, See, subtle body or gross body, it is to facilitate the fulfillment of one's desires. So, whichever is best suitable for the fulfillment of those desires, accordingly, the subtle body and gross body are formed. So, in the next
So
creation, um,
he may
see,
not get the
ultimately
same
it is
subtle
same.
body again.
Ultimately, same subtle body only. Subtle body means the combination of Manbuddhi, Ahankara, Chetan. They are like elements only. But eventually, by training the elements in a particular fashion, their orientation will become different. So, in that way.
So subtle
Thank
body,
you.
all the time we will not have the concept what we discussed in the last class, Prabhuji, like that 24 things are there now, which consist of subtle body, like
Yes,
You
yes.
mentioned.
Always that same. Always all those will be there in the subtle body.
Okay. Okay.
Hmm. The
And
5 Jnanendriyas, 5 Karmendriyas, 5 Pranas, and
five
4 Antakaranas.
five
All
layer
these
or
things will be there in the subtle body.
five layers of avidya also, na Prabhu?
Ah, yes, 5 layers of Vidya also. Yes, Mataji.
There is no shortcut form for everything.
Matlab?
We have to just do bhakti.
Hmm.
Karma.
Huh. Then what else you want?
If you go to see there's nothing concrete like.
No, that is also there. If you practice Ashtanga Yoga, raise prana from Muladhara Chakra to Agnya Chakra, then piercing through. Yeah, that is also there. That is for Sayujya Mukti. For Sayujya Mukti, clear cut process. With the help of Jnana Yoga and Ashtanga Yoga, passing through all the 14 planet systems, passing through 7 layers of the universe, enter into Sayujya.
That's it is the framework, yeah. Yeah. But
For Bhakti also same thing. Bhakti also same thing. There, one's journey is undertaken by one's own efforts. In the case of Bhakti, our journey is undertaken by our own efforts, 50%, and we will be taken by Jaya Vijaya. There one is going and one is on own. Here Vimana will come to take one back home back to Godhead in Bhakti. So one's endeavor is also required, and Lord's Krupa also will be there. Both will be working on doing that.
Prabhuji, what is VTA?
Vaishnava Training Academy. It is 1 year training course. The unmarried boys can stay in the temple and they should go for work. There will be classes either in the morning or evening. At our time, we used to have evening classes. Nowadays, they are taking morning classes because nowadays most of the boys are working home and working for US, and they have to work late night also. So they have morning. They have to attend morning program completely. 4:30 their attendance starts. 4:30 they have to report in the temple hall. They do some service of temple hall cleaning and stage by. Then attend all the Mangalarti, chant Japa till 7 o'clock. 7 to 8 they have morning class. 8 o'clock they have breakfast. Then go to office starting from 8:15 onwards. The rest of the day is theirs. Morning 4:30 to 8 is the training schedule. And on weekends they have some special programs.
Okay, thank you.
That is 1 year training program in the temple.
So sounding like everybody is given some unique identification number. It's codified and kept stored everything. And when he comes back after the, at the time of an invitation, he keeps everything and goes from there.
Yes.
He comes back, he gives his code and picks it back and comes back to the.
See, giving the elements is like you want to construct a home. Prabhuji also want to construct a home. Mataji also want to construct a home. What do you need the ingredients? You need iron, you need cement, you need bricks, you need sand. Is there any distinction among them? What sand you get, they also get same sand. What cement you get, they also get same cement. What iron you get, they also get same iron. But your home is different, their home is different. Why? Your home, you construct the way you want. Their home, they construct the way they want. The karma and sabhava is unique for individual person. The elements are same for everyone. उसमें कुछ अलग नहीं रहता है. How we want to use the elements. Whether you want to construct the wall of 9 inches or 4 inches or 3 inches or 12 inches is according to your desire. So it's simple. The elements are like the ingredients for the building and they are available. You use how much you want to use. You want to use more iron, more cement, or you want to use more bricks and less iron, less cement. It's up to you, your desire. Which kind of house you want to have. It's like that. The elements are like the ingredients and the home is based on your desire. So okay, I will continue 1 or 2 verses more. It's already 8:30. Lokanam gatavati mai anata kutumbini vartishyate katam katam tu esha balakan anusochati.
King Puranjana was anxiously thinking, alas, my wife is encumbered by so many children. When I pass from this body, how will she be able to maintain all these family members? Alas, she will be greatly harassed by thoughts of family maintenance.
Yeah, simple. This is the same thought process one goes through as we just discussed. When I go to another world, is not going to be here around. How will my wife, without a husband, lamenting for our children's welfare, continue to exist? How will my wife will take care of the children, take care of the home, take care of the property, take care of everything alone without me? This is a normal thought process we can see in our homes also. And then he continues further. Na mai anashite bungte न्यास्नाते स्थाने मत्परा मयि रुष्टे सुशंत्रस्ता भारतिषे यत वाग्भयात्.
King Puranjana then began to think of his past dealings with his wife. He recalled that his wife would not take her dinner until he had finished his, that she would not take her bath until he had finished his, and that she was always very much attached to him, so much so that if he would sometimes become angry and chastise her, she would simply remain silent and tolerate his misbehavior.
Yeah, he's thinking about if I did not eat, she would not eat unless until husband eats, I will not eat. If I do not bathe, she would not bathe. She was devoted to me. When I became angry, she would become frightened. When I scolded her, she remained silent in fear. So he is worried about his wife. So how we can consider here? Of course, in one chapter is said that Puranjana, whatever Puranjana did that. Whatever intelligence said, the soul followed. But here, the wife is not the intelligence. The wife is the city, which is the source of pleasure. Or we can take it as the wife is the body. When the soul wanted to bathe, the body bathed. We are actually giving bathing to the body only, in one sense. When the soul want to eat, the body eats. Unless until the soul wants to eat, the body does not eat. So like unless until the husband eats, wife does not eat. So in that way. Um, when the husband becomes angry, the wife becomes frightened. When the person becomes bus, both okay. So the hands does not eat more. So in that way. So like that. The wife is the body, which is source of pleasure. So in that way. Prabodhayanti ma vignam vyushite shokakarshita vartamaitat gruhamediyam Virasur api neshyati.
Puranjana continued thinking how, when he was in a state of bewilderment, his wife would give him good counsel and how she would become aggrieved when he was away from home. Although she was the mother of so many sons and heroes, the king still feared that she would not be able to maintain the responsibility of household affairs.
Mm. She would instruct me when I was foolish. That means when I foolishly neglect taking care of the body would give signals. When I miss some lunch, the body will tell acidity level increasing. When I don't drink water, the hiccups will come or something will come. Otherwise, dryness will be there. So the body will give symptoms. So in that way. When I was away, she became thin because of lamentation. When I don't take care of the body properly, the body becomes lean. That means when I don't take care of the body properly, when I don't feed the body sufficiently, it becomes lean, obviously. Having many sons, she will not be able to perform household duties. The body on her own cannot do activities. So, in that way. She would enlighten me, who was a fool. When I was away, she became thin. How will she undertake the task? Though she has sons to take care of, she will die, unable to bear separation from me. Though she has sons to take care of, that means the body has various limbs. Hands are there, legs are there, face is there, hair is there. She has to take care of so many different limbs individually. But when I am not there, she will not take care of anyone. She will die out of separation from me. So like that. He's talking about the wife.
प्रभु जी लाइक
हाँ.
हियर अभी उनका ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन भी आ गया ना, तो अभी वाइफ को बच्चों का क्या केयर करना है फिर? लाइक व्हाई ही इज थिंकिंग इन दिस वे? जब ग्रैंड चिल्ड्रन है, दे आर ऑलरेडी टेकिंग केयर ऑफ देयर ओन फैमिलीज, तो अभी वाइफ को
Does
बच्चों का
any mother will feel like that? Please tell me according to your experience in your home, you must have seen. Even after your marriage, after you begot children, does your parents did not show affection care for you? बेटा ऐसा मत करने का, ऐसा नहीं करने का, बेटी ऐसा, बेटा बेटी.
affection and care is there. What I meant is from parent side ऐसा responsibility नहीं रहता है कि अभी मुझे इनका ये करना ही चाहिए. मतलब जैसे बच्चे छोटे होते हैं तो yes, parents have responsibility, ये करना ही चाहिए.
Even though they don't have to do anything, but they will always say something. ऐसा नहीं करने का, ऐसा नहीं करने का, ये ख्याल करो, ये ख्याल करो करके बोलते रहते. That is natural. You cannot deny that.
Okay.
Because you might have grown up, you might have become parents yourself, but for them you remain a child. So till the last breath, they always worry about your welfare. That is natural.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Even when Narendra Modi goes home, his mother is there. She feeds him personally. It is not that he does not know how to eat. That is mother's nature. That's all. Katam nu darakadina darakirva parayana vartishyante maigate binnana va ivodado. I will read. How will my poor sons and daughters who were dedicated to serving me remain living when I am gone? They will be like a chartered boat in the ocean. Just like my wife cannot take care of my children in my absence, my children also cannot take care of themselves in my absence. They will also die out of separation. Generally, it will not happen, but that is the heart of the father. The father will think that if I am not there, my wife and children will die. Who will take care of them? There will be no one to take care of them. They are grown up, grown enough. They can take care of themselves. But father will never think like that. It is the father's or mother's heart is that they cannot take care of themselves enough without me. So it is always there. My daughters were dedicated to serving me with affection in my old age. How will they remain in my absence? They will die from continual crying. Pinna means cracked. So it's like that. And the last verse for today. Wait, we'll discuss this word, then we'll take questions. Evam kripanaya buddhya sochantam atad arhanam grahitum kritadhir enam baya nama abhyapadyata. At that time, while he was thinking about the welfare of his wife and children, daughter, son, grandchildren, etc., etc., the determined Yavana king called Fear, Bhayanama Krutadhi, approached to take the king, who was lamenting in this way, though it was not befitting, along with his wretched intelligence. Krupanaya Buddhya. He should not have lamented since he was actually a spiritual particle. Atad Arhanam. Atad Arhanam can mean He did not deserve to be taken by fear since he practiced dharma. In his entire life, he was practicing dharma, following the dictates of his dharmic intelligence. He should not worry that, okay, I have done dharma, anyway, I'm going to Swarga, I will enjoy more and more. And my children also, dharmic people, they will continue to live happily. Instead, he was worrying about the welfare of his wife and children. At the time, the fear comes and attacks him. That means, thinking about the welfare of his wife and children, he becomes more and more fearful because one side the Gandharvas are attacking and coming close to him, other side the Yavanas are attacking and coming close to him, and at far distance he's seeing the fear personified. Other side is seeing Jwara, and in the middle is seeing Parjwara. Everyone is going to attack him and is worried about his wife and children. So one's fear increases more and more, more and more. Fear attacking means the fear increases. The level amount of fear is getting increased. I'm going to die. I'm going to die. What will happen to them? What will happen to them? Etc. etc. That's how a person gets death. And tomorrow we'll see how he will die and where he will go after death. Who all will accompany him, etc. etc. Yes, Mataji, you are saying something?
Prabhuji, whatever this type of thinking of Puranjana is due to emotions or due to material intelligence.
It is due to emotions because of one's dharmic nature. It's nothing wrong. These emotions are there with everyone. Even a devotee also has the same emotions. A dharmic person also has same emotions. Sinful person also has same emotions.
But such emotions means if we are saying that they are not wrong, they're right, but that will lead one to again samsara, no? At the time if one is carrying such emotions.
But how far those emotions should be there, that is important. Here the fear, he has the emotions to the extent that the fear is attacking. It should not go to that extent.
Because like in verse 22, that also I was feeling that if he has all life, he has lived very religious and pious life, then why the means such persons don't get darshan of Yamaraj, no? So still he is having that darshan. So how we understand?
But the religious wife he already left behind long back.
Puranjan is there with him now.
No, he has a different wife now. Now his body itself is acting as his wife. That's why it said, na, along with his wretched intelligence. Currently, his thought process is all about my cities got burnt. I have to leave behind my koshagar. I have to leave behind my wife, children, friends, relatives. That intelligence is not dharmic intelligence. Though he performed dharma throughout his life, but at the time of death, the dharmic intelligence kind of hidden, subsided. He is thinking only in terms of me and mine, which is not supposed to be. That me and mine concept will take one to hell. Later on, tomorrow we'll see what
Okay.
exactly happened to him afterwards. But the concept is that one can think of them, but not too much. A devotee will think about the welfare of his family members, but he ultimately comes to the conclusion that just like Krishna took care of me, Krishna will take care of them. Krishna, everything is up to you. You take care of me, you take care of them. He leaves it. He thinks about it and he gives it up. And a dharmic person will say that I have performed punya, my family members also performed punya. I'm going to Swarga, they will also come to Swarga. Let us meet there. But now Puranjana is thinking about them too much. Who will take care of them? What will happen to them? What will happen to them? He is too much engulfed in that. So that will take him to hell.
Yeah. Yes. The emotions are good, but if they too much go in that direction, it will cause serious problem for the person.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
So we'll stop here and we'll continue tomorrow afternoon. Tomorrow it will be a small class, maybe from 2 to 3:15 or something like that. Okay, the next class I take from 2:30 because devotees want to attend some Vyas Puja ceremony in the evening. So that class I am ending early. So in that way.
So our class will be at 2 o'clock, no, Prabhuji?
Yeah, 2 to 3:15, 3:30,
Okay.
not up to 4.
Okay.
30, 70, 80.
Okay, we'll stop here. Grantara
Yeah.
Srimad
There
Bhagavatam
are
ki.
some doubts from the last. I will message you then. That will be better because tomorrow also you will be busy. So I'll message you.
Okay, no problem.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Otherwise, you can stay back. Other devotees can log off. You can stay back and
Yeah.
you can
If
ask
you
more.
have time, yeah, I can ask now.
Yes, thank you.